In this module, we're going to learn about creating new variables in Stata. Specifically, we're going to focus on the commands generate, replace, and learn how to label variables as well as label values within Stata. So within Stata, open up the Framingham dataset and we'll get started. So the main idea behind this tutorial is we're going to learn more about data management and about data cleaning. So generally, when someone just sends you a dataset, it's not going to have all the variables that you want within that dataset. So we're going to learn a little bit about how to manipulate variables in Stata and how to generate new variables. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a new variable called age square 1. That's going to be the square of age at exam 1 within the dataset. So anytime I want to generate a new variable in Stata, the command that's generally used is generate. So I could go data, create or change data, create a new variable. And then this generate window pops up. So the name of my new variable is going to be age square 1. And then down here I'm going to specify an expression for this variable. It's going to be age 1 times age 1. And I can hit submit. And in the command line, you can see that this popped up where it says generate age square 1 is equal to the square of age 1. If I go down to my variables, the window over here, I see that there is now a new variable in my data set that contains age square 1. Whenever you're creating variables in Stata, it's always good to double check your work. So I'm going to say summarize age square 1 and age 1 and make sure it looks like age square 1 is approximately the square of age 1. I could more consistently check this by checking individual observations, but this is a good first smell check. So it looks like everything looks okay in age square 1. Now let's delete this covariate because I want to show you another way that we could have gone about constructing this covariate. So within the command line, I could simply type gen age square 1 equals age 1 caret squared. And this does the exact same thing as the previous command that I ran. Note that if I would have tried to overwrite the variable that I created by running generate again, I would get an error in Stata. So errors in Stata are always in red. So you can see that Stata did not like that. If I want to generate a new variable, it needs to have a unique name. I cannot overwrite variables in Stata by using the generate command. So in Stata, the way that Stata operates with missing data when you're generating new variables is if I have a continuous variable such as age and it's missing, and I define age square 1, which is a function of this continuous variable, then if age 1 is missing, age square 1 is going to be missing. So let's say we did gen BMI 1 squared equals BMI 1 squared. So BMI 1 does have 19 missing values to start out with. So when I create a variable BMI squared, which is the square of BMI 1, then BMI squared is going to be missing whenever BMI 1 is missing. So this is how Stata handles missing data for continuous covariates. So what I've looked at so far is I've looked at how to create a variable that's a function of a continuous covariate, and the new variable is continuous as well. Let's say that I wanted to create a categorical covariate. So I'm going to create a new variable called agecat1. And agecat1 is going to break age at exam 1 down into 4 different groups. Ages 30 to 39, 40 to 49, 50 to 59, and 60 to 70 years old. So here's the general approach that I take to generating categorical covariates in Stata. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to generate agecat1 equals missing. So for everyone in the data set, I'm defining agecat1 to be missing. Note that I have abbreviated generate with gen. Stata is okay with that. There are some abbreviations that you can do in Stata that just save you time in the long run, but don't change the output at all. Okay, so I've defined agecat1 to be missing for everyone. Now let's define agecat1 for those who are between ages 30 and 39. So I'm going to say replace agecat1 is equal to 1 if age 1 is less than 40. So that means that 559 individuals in my data set have agecat1 equal to 1, meaning that they're between 30 and 39 years old. Moving on, for category 2, I can say replace agecat1 equals 2 if age 1 is less than 50, but I need to add in another condition. I need to say age 1 also has to be greater than or equal to 40. So I do the same thing for the remaining categories, making sure that for the final age group, I say age 1 is less than or equal to 70 because the final age group is defined as ages 60 to 70 years old. So now I can run tabulate agecat1, and I can get an idea of the age distribution in my data set by age groups. Now the way that I've gone about defining this agecat1 covariate is that I first assigned everyone to have missing data, and then I went in and I filled in each of the categories, defining them explicitly as I wanted them to be defined. The reason that I did this is because you need to be very careful about how Stata handles missing data when you're generating categorical covariates. Missing data in Stata are stored as very, very large numbers. So when you're defining a categorical covariate, especially for this last category, for the people who are between ages 60 to 70, I couldn't leave out the part that says age 1 is less than or equal to 70. If I leave that out, it's going to assign the value agecat1 equals 4 for everyone in my data set who has age over 1, which means that anyone who has a missing value is also going to be put into agecat4. So be very careful what you do with missing values when you're defining categorical covariates, knowing that they're stored as very, very large numbers in Stata. Okay, so if I go over to my variable window now, I see that I have these new variables that I created. I don't really care about BMI1, so I'm going to drop that BMI squared, get rid of that guy. So I really want to focus on hsquare1 and hcat1. You can see that every other variable in my data set has this label. It tells me exactly what's contained in that covariate. Whereas the two variables that we created, hsquare1 and hcat1, do not have labels, namely because we didn't give them labels. So let's learn how to label a variable in Stata really quickly. So if I type label variable hsquare1, then I give it a name, hit enter, and you can see that within this variable window, hsquare1 now has a label. I can do the same thing for hcat1. Okay, so I've labeled both hsquare1 and hcat1. However, when I type tabulate hcat1, you can see that within my rows, all I have is 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I either have to have a really good memory and know what 1, 2, 3, and 4 stand for, or it would be really nice if I could label the values 1, 2, 3, and 4 such that when I make a table, instead of having those numbers pop up, it tells me exactly what age category I'm looking at. So for instance, if I run the command tabulate sex1, I see that even though sex1, it's defined as 1 for males and 2 for females, you can see that in these rows, as opposed to having 1, 2 there, it tells me male or female. So let's make that happen for this hcat1 variable that we created. So in Stata, to make value labels, you first have to define a value label. So I would say label, define, hcat label. And how am I going to define this label? Got to spell it correctly? Okay, I'm going to say for hcat1, that's for people who are between 30 and 40 years old. For 2, it's 30 to 39. For 2, it's 40 to 49. For 3, it's 50 to 59. And for 4, it's 60 to 70. So notice that you have to put it in quotations, the name of the label. So I've defined this object called hcat label that gives the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4 certain labels. Now what I want to do is I want to say label values, and I'm going to say for hcat1, go ahead and throw that hcat label on there. And now if I tabulate hcat1, you see that in the rows, rather than having 1, 2, 3, 4, I have the more meaningful numbers that tell me exactly what range age group I'm looking at. So value labels make your data set a lot easier to look at. All right, so in this tutorial, we've gone through how to generate both continuous and categorical covariates in Stata and learned how to label those variables. Thank you.